Hello, hello, hello. So we're gonna take some time just to wait for some people to come in. I am currently in London. It is raining / hail outside, which is crazy. It's getting colder and colder at the moment, even though it should be getting warmer and warmer, which is really, really frustrating. Last week I was in Korea, which I mentioned was insane. I'm back home for a couple weeks and then I head to Hong Kong for Art Basel, where I'm going to be speaking about the project. I'm going to be speaking about a number of different possibilities. So yeah, it's really, really exciting at the moment. Da, 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 da. So, hold on. Easy everyone, how you doing? So some people are coming in. I'm just gonna take my time, wait for some people to join. So as I was saying, I'm going to be coming to Hong Kong in a couple weeks, which is really, really exciting. I think it's just a huge opportunity for me to explore what's happening out there. There is quite a big beatbox culture. Fat King has been doing amazing things for increasing the culture, fighting for new students. I know that he's teaching, he's doing a lot of amazing things, but Art Basel is actually a huge art event that happens in Hong Kong, from fine art to street art. It also happens in Miami. I've been a few times, and it's always really interested. Yeah, it's always really interesting what happens at these events, just because you find there's whatever your idea of creativity is, you're able to be exposed to a whole new world of artists, because I think one of the main dangers in what we do as artists or creatives is you end up in a little bubble, and it's just really unhealthy for your mindset to stay exposed to the same things all the time. You want to make sure that you find a brand new way of meeting artists, speaking to other people, hello, and just expanding your ideas. And that really is a massive part of We Speak Music. This concept is making sure that we find new ways of opening doors, find new ways of connecting with people. And I think that's can be hard to do if you stay inside of one mind state. Easy Aqua Beats, how you doing? So when I started this project with Nokia Bell Labs and Swiss Beatbox coming in at the end to help distribute, and Lonely Leap directing, it really was this thing of, if the world is looking at us, what are we going to do? How are we going to sort of represent ourselves beyond our amazing videos and our abilities? So this episode is actually a really huge challenge, because there's you guys judging and watching and thinking, hey, does this represent us? But beatboxing, I think, really existed way before you could say hip hop culture or any kind of sort of contemporary sort of music making, because We've experimented with our voices for as long as we've been human beings, and that's such a huge thing. Vocal experimentation has been around as long as human beings have, and that's why that's why it's so strange that even now we're still innovating and we're still growing. And for this episode, we wanted to focus on specifically from New York to Europe and then Europe to Asia. So people are saying nice things on the chat. I'm going to answer some questions in a little bit. This is just a small session. So that journey, New York, Europe, Asia, I think kind of represents maybe the last 3 generations of beatboxers and beatbox artists. And it specifically focuses on this explosion of online beatbox culture. It makes it relevant to maybe this most recent iteration of what's been happening. And you have, of course, Bilo and the World Championships. You have Poponi's work, BTV. All the online culture has exploded in the last 10 years. And now we have what I call this new dojo of artists. And it's a new thing, like to have this type of experimentation and have these types of artists sort of experimenting and playing with each other. This is not something that you come across a lot within music. The fact that there can be a new type of music culture and a whole new medium in which that's being expressed. And when you kind of move on from the concept of performing and music, just objectively, you end up with something that is actually really brand new. And how often do we get a chance to really say that? How often can we say as a culture and as a human being that we found something brand new? And because of that, you have the academics, you have the music making world, and a whole new wave of people that are becoming interested in it. And we have to kind of think about what it is, where is it going, like how is it growing, and we can work that out together. But one thing that we need is representation for outside of the scene and culture. And these first 2 episodes really represent that. We start off in New York with Razel. And actually someone just said, what do you think about the Indonesian beatbox community? This is a really important point, which I'm going to come to in a little bit. But New York, Razel, Dougie Fresh, Kenny Mohammed. I actually spoke with Razel on those steps outside Penn train station in New York for about 2 hours. I personally want to release the whole thing because it completely blew my mind. Some of the things that he was saying, like there was something so interesting about the way that he spoke about him and Kenny Mohammed, like training together and leveling up. Like I think Razel and Kenny were the first true new school. And the way that I define new school was when it left being human, when it really started to sound like something else, a new instrument, a new sound, electronic. Because before Razel and Kenny Mohammed, it was always about the human beatbox. It was always about the human element of the sound. So apparently, Dougie Fresh sat down Razel, it was Biz Markie, and he said, the human beatbox should be human. And it shouldn't sound like this kind of, like, what's the point of the human beatbox if it sounds mechanical and it sounds like something not human? It's the human beatbox, that human element. And apparently people in the audience, in the hip-hop crowd as well, would say, oh, no, wait, it doesn't sound human anymore. Like, why would you do that? You can just play an instrument. And that was such an interesting point. But Razel and Kenny were like, no. It's like, I want to listen to the details. I want to listen to the specifics. I want to understand how sounds are being made. And I think they were the first to really take that mechanical, beyond human quality and push it to the next level. So it was so important to speak to Razel. And then, of course, we go from that into Swiss Beatbox, and elements of the sort of videographer influencers. Again, Bilo, BTV, and yeah, and specifically, I know this is on Swiss Beatbox, but again, like the amount of love and time and energy Poponi has put into capturing all these people around the world, it's insane. And it's not just one person's effort, but the amount that Poponi has done, and like when he came and met me in Switzerland, just capturing these different elements of it, have created this open source for us all to connect, this open source for us all to hear sounds. And I think that was the beginning of this sort of hive mind in beatbox, where we kind of all exist as a connected thing that works together. And when one of us levels up, all of us level up. And that's such a crazy concept. So that obviously blew up in Europe, and then you had my generation and this level of skill that elevated. And then we had an influence on Asia. So a really, really important point is that in this documentary, even though it's called A Global Community, it does not show everyone. It does not show absolutely every corner of what the world beatbox community is now. But what it does show is this lineage, again, of its growth. When you get into Asia, we went to the Asia Beatbox Championship. So like huge shout out to Mike Lee for the Asia Championships. Asia has exploded in talent. Indonesia, I really hope to come to one day, so that I can experience what is the biggest beatbox following in the world. It's absolutely huge. There's a massive growth in culture. There's a massive growth in like the sheer numbers of what's happening now. But now I think I say in the second episode that it's outdoing everyone. And what I mean by that is in terms of like passion and numbers and people and growth. I respect the Asian beatbox culture so much. And I think it's just, I said before in my World Champs interview years and years ago that it's a toddler. I think that's the same for the Asian beatbox culture. It's going to absolutely explode even more over there. So that's why it's so important for us to kind of show this journey, show some of the artists, not all of them. And for someone coming into this culture with no idea, what I really hope is that you guys out there will share with your teachers, your friends, like anyone that in 10 minutes wants to get a feeling for how this culture is growing. You can now play them episode 2 of We Speak Music. And that's the main function of it, especially these first 2 episodes. From this point onwards, we start to go beyond beatboxing, and we go into more about voice innovation, like all these extra things that maybe you would never associate with beatboxing. But the last sort of 4 years for me, my battle and my growth as an artist, like all the work that I've done with Nokia Bell Labs, all the work that I've done lecturing and speaking at Harvard, most recently with the World Economic Forum, all these things are me trying to go out into the world and find these things that vocal experimentation can contribute to the world. And that in turn will validate beatboxing in a way that it never has before. And I want to fight for the culture. I want to fight for you guys. But also, it's not about pretending or making things up. The communication world, the connection world, people's friendships, their relationships have a lot to learn from the control we have over our voices. And that's an amazing thing. That's a very real thing. And that's the 2 ends of it. There's coming from the culture that I have, and then you have how the culture can actually influence the rest of the world in a very real way. It's a huge thing. So I want to pay respect to everybody that's in that episode, Yeah, and everyone that helped like make that happen. But I just saw a question, which is how can the culture be taken more seriously in the rest of the world? And I see that question all the time. I don't think it's down to one person to decide that. I don't think it's down to me to just say this is how it is, this is what happens. But I can talk about my experience. Going from being a beatbox artist and a performer to them leaving that from my choice to then go out into the world and say, okay, so how else can this level up? What other ways are there for us to grow as a culture? You have cultural influence, you have education, and then you have artistic development. So what I mean by that is there are huge leaps in education happening. There's a lot of indicators that beatboxing will become a part of music curriculums all around the world in the next 5 to 10 years. In therapy, there are massive leaps in how people are using their voices to grow. Apologies to everyone that doesn't speak English. I talk very fast. So education is a huge one. There are more and more events. There's more and more like crossovers, like in terms of how people are incorporating this as a medium. So you see artists now like CODFISH, who has, with his writing and the way that he's composing with his voice, it's appealing to huge numbers of the world. And I see artists and musicians from every shade of creativity are starting to kind of see that there are new ways of using this. And finally, the way that artists are leveling up, like CODFISH, just growing as artists performing. Like for me, it was always the 1 hour show. It was always the finding purpose in yourself. And it's always going to be the artists who grow and become the best versions of themselves are going to be the ones that fight for the culture in the best way. So it's a whole mixed bag of these things. But I say again, a big part of this documentary is for the people watching, whether you're an artist, you're a musician, you're an engineer, you think about using these films to help you understand what your goals are and how you can fight to level up and show people how this culture is growing. So yeah, Lonely Leap as storytellers are incredible. It's so insane. And being able to work with them was such an honor. Showing them the culture, bringing them to GBB, seeing how it all develops and grows. It was a hell of a task, but I cannot stress enough. So Nokia Bell Labs, is they have invented so much of modern technology, the foundations of it, and they have loved voices for as long as they've been a thing. So Alexander Bell invented the telephone, eventually it became Bell Labs, and I can't even go into it, there's a whole history of how much they love voices. And there was this wonderful moment when I came in as a beatboxer and as an artist and started speaking about my ideas about the voice. And I showed them this culture and they were like, wow, we had no idea that this existed. We had no idea that there was this much innovation happening in our voices. And that's what's so amazing about everyone that supports this channel, all the artists on it, is that we are innovators. And we are innovating with something that has been around for millions, as old as we are. How on earth are we finding new ways of using it? And what does that mean for the way people connect and understand each other? Because all of you, if you are a beatboxer out there, the control you have over your voice, your mum, your dad, your sister, your teacher's friends, they can benefit from that, because if you control your voice, then you control the way you connect with the rest of the world. And that is a huge point. For me, the next 10 years, I'm going to be exploring that and pushing that. So I understand that it's not for everyone. I understand it's not the the sort of one channel. In this documentary, there are many, many different things going on. But once all the episodes are out, I hope that you can share it, you can watch it as a film, and you can try and convince the other people out there of how this culture is growing. There's so many beautiful minds I'm meeting around the world, whether they are engineers, whether they are artists. The level of thinking in beatboxing, the way people are connecting ideas is huge at the moment. And we are living and breathing innovation in our culture. And it's not every day you get to say that. This is such a unique thing. So GBB is going to be incredible this year. I'm going to be there. And just as a footnote, I want to say, I hope you enjoy episode 2. Please watch episode 2 and share your opinion. I said this on the last live stream, like, let's go. Let's have a debate. Let's have a discussion. Share with your friends. See what they think. Like, use it as a tool. Let's see how we can use this medium to expand the culture, expand our minds, and in turn, everyone can level up all around the world. And that's a huge challenge, but I believe we can do that. So I've been speaking for 21 minutes now, so I'm going to leave it there, but I'll be back again for the live stream after episode 3, which is more about, it's starting to now step a big step towards innovation and growth. Yeah, I'm really interested in what you guys think, because it's not so much about the music anymore. It's about how we can grow and level up. So much respect to the true global community. Much respect to the three destinations we show in this video. And I send my love and respect to you all. So Poponi has asked me to drop one little beat at the end, so. We Speak Music, episode 2. Enjoy. See you next week.